What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NBA DFS video. It is Monday. It is February 12th, the day after the Super Bowl. Hopefully, you guys had a fantastic weekend, whether or not you played DFS for NBA, whether or not you played, your sports bets for the Super Bowl. If you played the single game, whatever it was, hopefully it was a fantastic time. But we are back. We have 4 days of NBA. So we go from today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we are done until, I believe, next Thursday or next Friday. So we'll take a little break, we'll regroup, we'll start to focus in on, we're going to focus in on MLB DFS 2, but never fear. We'll still have NBA content and MLB content colliding. So we're very excited. If you've never seen what our MLB content is, go check out our YouTube page, click the playlist, and look at the MLB content. I would say look at from September through, go back until about May. It's really when we hit our stride was about May. And that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to bring it to you 45 minutes to an hour-long video every single day, breaking down pitching, batting, everything. So if you've got any questions about MLB, definitely get it there. If you have questions after this video, put them down below. Let that algorithm help. And if you need a little bit more, we've got a Discord channel. We have an article in the description of this video which has 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position. And on top of that, if you want to win free content, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Check out what we have. But if you want to win, like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment on this video. If this video gets at least 50 likes and you leave a comment, you have a chance to win a free week of DFS content. 100 likes is a chance to win a free month. 125 likes, a chance to win a free year. And 150 or more likes, you have a chance to win a $500 lifetime pass. On top of that, a second way to win, you can pile them together. Like the video, be a subscriber, leave a comment of who you think is going to score the most amount of DraftKings fantasy points and how many fantasy points are they going to score. You get that closest without going over, you will win a free week of DFS content. If you get it exactly correct, you have a chance to win a monthly pass. So 2 simple ways. And the winner will be put, if there is a winner, they will be put down here in the comments. I'll pin a comment with the winner and we'll get in contact with you. So if you do win, email dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp1@gmail.com. We'll get you set up quite easily. So that being said, we do have 10 games on the NBA slate of the day, but 9 of them are on DraftKings. So we go from Indy to Charlotte, all the way to Golden State versus Utah. So Golden State coming off that pretty damn good out of nowhere win on the buzzer to beat the Phoenix Suns, but we are looking at this right now. So let's take a look. We look at Indiana versus Charlotte. We've got Indiana opening up as a 13-point favorite. Charlotte's bad. They're very bad. With a 239 over-under. We've got Philly versus Cleveland. Cleveland being a 9-point favorite. 231.5 over-under. And the current line has moved up to 9.5. Over-under is 228.5. So the line has moved up, but the over-under has moved down. So depending on when you watch this video, maybe it's already changed even more. Definitely take a look here and check it out. The next one is San Antonio versus Toronto. We got Toronto opening as a 5.5-point favorite with a 234 over-under. The line right now, -7 for Toronto and a 233 over-under. Chicago versus Atlanta. Atlanta being a 5.5-point favorite, 238.5 over-under. The current spread, a 3.5-point spread, so it's coming down. It could be even more by the time you watch this, with a 236.5 over-under. New Orleans versus Memphis. New Orleans being a 9-point favorite with a 224 over-under. Current spread, it stayed 9, but the over-under has gone down 1 point. Then Denver versus Milwaukee. Denver being a 1.5-point favorite, over-under of 234. The Knicks versus Houston. Knicks being a 6-point favorite with a 221 over-under. Washington versus Dallas. Dallas is currently a 14-point favorite. Washington has been able to stay in some games, but they give up a ton of fantasy points. So Luka, probably the man. He's got the questionable tag as long as he plays. Wouldn't be surprised. The problem is paying up for Luka. Hopefully he gets us the 8, 9, 9.5, not 9.5, but like 9 times value before they pull him, if that happens. But they do have a high over-under of 247. Washington usually does give up a ton of points. And then Golden State versus Utah. Utah being a 1-point favorite, 243.5 over-under. then the game we can't play, maybe you're playing a single game, Minnesota versus the Clippers. Clippers currently a 3.5-point favorite with a 222 over-under. So, that being said, we usually go through and we look at the depth charts and we see what you like. Lonzo or LaMelo Ball won't play Saturday. Myth is not. He's probably not going to play again. Would not be surprised if he is out. That obviously opens up value here. Halliburton, the minutes they're going up. So like 29 went down 26, then to 30. Like he's playing some more minutes. Maybe he's a little bit better. His injury might be behind him. He's coming off 48.75 fantasy points. He's now 8,600. He's in a good spot here. I don't mind using him. We have not used him in the past, but I don't mind that. Cody Martin is a value here. This is just point guard. Miles Bridges makes sense because of how bad they are. Pascal makes sense. The minutes are there. We know it's kind of been down a little bit. We'd obviously love to see him at 40-plus fantasy points. Brandon Miller, 7,300. His price has come down a little bit. He's capable of 50-plus games. He played Indy back on February 4th, went 52 there at 6,900. 52 would be perfect at 7,300. So he just had success there. Wouldn't be surprised. Brandon Miller's a good one that I like. Miles Turner, Nick Richards. Get down a little bit. Yeah, Cody Martin, the minutes. Yeah, we're looking at 15. I'm not looking at Cody Martin. That's Benedict Mathurin we could look at here. But the minutes are there. He's just underperforming big time. Against Charlotte, did he play? Yeah, 2-4, 22.75, 5,800. He's 1,000 less. So if you build a stars and scrub lineup, I'm okay with him. But yeah, you've got Trey Mann. We used a couple of nights ago. 31 fan went over 10 times value at that price on Saturday night. 10 times value. I would look at him at 4,600, especially in this game. So that's probably what I'm using in this game. Again, things can change. Value plays open up throughout the day. So the article that's in this video, or in the description, it's got the 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks. The value picks will change throughout the day because news and notes come out. So if Ball actually plays, some value goes away. If Ball is out again, which I fully expect, I could be wrong, value opens back up. So there's a lot of plays that can happen from players that maybe you're not thinking about right now, but think about them when the day goes on. And that's why FantasyTeamAdvisors.com is great. We have a ton of information. We have player trends, minutes played, allowed, fantasy points allowed by position, Vegas odds, top plays, which has every play that will be there, player projections. A lot of data points go into those player projections. Those player projections are part of the article as well. We've got NBA DFS Chalk, which has the chalk, and then it has players that you could use that are value. That usually is updated about 2 hours before tip-off, maybe an hour before tip-off. Kind of the same thing with the cheat sheet. So a lot of information that we do have on the site. We're not just selling lineups. Those are on the site too, but those are starting points, and that's what I wanted to reiterate here. We'll go Philly at Cleveland, depending Embiid obviously being out, Donovan Mitchell being an absolute stud. He was one of our core plays on Saturday, did not come through for us at 35, but he was one of our core plays. Again, I'm telling you, I'm letting you know, we don't always hit a home run. We're not Vegas Dave. We don't have a 100% hit rate. We also do sports betting like Vegas Dave, but I bet we have a better clip than Vegas Dave does. Tyrese Maxey has been coming on strong lately. I would look at him coming off 50 fantasy points his last game on Saturday. We did use him. Harris, Jarrett Allen. I would look down to Paul Reed. We used Paul Reed on Saturday. Let us down. Like I said, with tournaments, you got to get a little bit creative. Didn't help us. I feel like that's pretty much the way it's going to go with Philly until Embiid comes back, if he comes back. Paul Reed, Mo Bamba, Martin, we don't know who it's going to be. Mo Bamba questionable, takes him out. Batum's out, Melton's out. Cameron Payne, KJ Martin, it depends who's going to get some minutes here. Played 23 minutes on Saturday for 8.5 fantasy points. Like I said, I feel like go somewhere else for center. Don't go Philly for center. It's just not worth it. We've got Ricky Council the fourth. It depends. Like, again, he went 10 times value there. That's kind of what you're looking at. The minutes were there against Washington. Washington's very bad, though. That's the problem. Washington is very bad. He is a $4,000 player. Tournaments, I'm okay with. Again, get a little creative. So, just kind of go through. That's kind of where we're at. Some people like this, some people don't. So we kind of go through. We look at, there we go. Pretty much from Wembanyama down to Zach Collins, I'm okay with at some point. So you're like, oh, the player pool is huge. Well, we have this, but then if you check our Fantasy Team Advisors website and you check our cheat sheet, we have each position. We have about 5 or 6 cash and 5 or 6 tournament players at each position. So those are there. Then we have leverage plays. So while I say these are good right now, once news comes out, once we project even more, that's where we'll find the players that we want to use. Then we move to Chicago versus Atlanta. You got Trae Young. Obviously, we know who Trae Young is. Vucevic here comes through for us almost every single game. We used him on Saturday, 63.25 fantasy points. Absolutely killed it at 7,800, and he only went up 100. So I would love him. I'd rather pay for him than I would pay down for center for Philly. All the way down, if Clint Capella is out again, left adductor strain, B7 of it. Yeah, so he will be out. He's just questionable right now. They just haven't thrown him out yet. I wouldn't use Andre Drummond. Bogdanovich, tournaments I'm okay with. He doesn't have the best matchup. His minutes are there. His price is high. He has not been hitting value. Value, what I'm meaning is for cash, you're looking at about 7 times value, 6.5, 7 times value. Tournaments, you're looking for basically 8 times plus value. Hopefully, sometimes you'll find those 10 times value players that will help us out. So you will have those players that get 10 times value and are like $3,500. You'll have those guys there, but then on top of that, you'll have other players that you're paying up for, and they hit 7, 8 times value. That makes up that gap. Sometimes you have players that hit 6 times value, but the 10 times value players also fill that gap. Will you take down a tournament? Probably not. Will you cash in a tournament? Most likely, if every one of your players hits at least 6.5, 7 times value, and then you have those couple that go off for 10 times value because they were so cheap. So those are kind of some of the players. New Orleans versus Memphis, we're looking at. Jaren Jackson. Zion, I don't know. He's questionable. I don't know if I trust him enough. I would go down basically to Jacob Gilyard if he gets some run, but again, the minutes just depend. He's getting about 20 minutes, less than a point per minute, so I'm probably off of him. I'd probably go Herbert Jones and up, but again, this is where we will find out. So after we get done with all of these depth charts, we are going to build a lineup using the NBA points allowed by position. Again, a starting point, not a copy paste. And some people like it. So if you like that, hit the like button. Let me know. If you don't like us building a lineup at the end, let me know that as well. What would you guys like to see in these videos? I'm trying to figure that out. I know exactly what we're going to do for MLB. We're going to do the exact same thing we did last year. It worked out. Everybody loved it. I don't know if there were people that didn't. There's a couple. I do remember some of the comments. I know what we're going to do with NFL. So I know I kind of slacked this year with NFL. But I'm going to have some time on my hands come NFL season. And I'm going to be having a second child. So I'm going to be having 8 weeks off of work. Just broke some news. I don't think I've told anybody this. So that will be right around football season, hopefully, if everything goes well. So I will have time. I know exactly what we're going to do with the NFL. We're going to have videos every single week. I apologize we did not. I'm still trying to figure out if this is what you guys like for NBA. So you got Denver versus Milwaukee. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. You're paying up. Middleton, if he's out. Porter, if he is out. You're looking at Jokic. You're looking at Lillard. You're looking at Antetokounmpo. You're looking at Lopez, Portis. Basically down to probably Jay Crowder. Maybe come down to Connaughton, just if people are in or out. The problem is the minutes are not there for Connaughton. So I'm probably not on him. I'm probably looking at Jay Crowder and up for the plays that I would look at in this game. New York, Houston, Brunson. I'm a big Brunson guy. Randall still being out. Alperen Sengun. If he is out, that will open up. Let's see. He was out the other night. Did not play Saturday. Yeah, Jeff Green picked up some value. If I love Jeff Green at his price of they bumped him up, didn't they? He was 3,100 for 2 games. Back-to-back games of almost 30 fantasy points, 10 times value back-to-back. So, of course, they bumped him up. They did not bump him up a ton. Usually you see this and he was 3,100, he'd be like 6,000. So yeah, I don't mind Jeff Green, especially if Segan is out. If he is out, Jeff Green is a fantastic value option today. But you can see a lot of players are out. A lot of players are questionable. So pay attention here. Dante, I love. Jeff Green, Precious, Eamon Thompson, Josh Hart. Yeah, that's where I would look at. Maybe Miles McBride and Dylan Brooks a little bit. Washington, Dallas. I'm leaning Dallas. The problem is Washington's so bad and Dallas is good here. I could see their Doncic he's probable. He's questionable now, but going to be probable. Kyrie, if Kyrie's out, Doncic even more. But they're both probable. I'm looking at playing them, but I'm scared of it being a blowout and them getting pulled because Washington's so bad and they are not 100% healthy right now. I would look at them. I would look everywhere here, all the way down to Marvin Bagley III. We used him on Saturday. Came through for nothing. 15 minutes. He was a tournament option, throwaway option for 7.25. So it wasn't the best decision, but it helped us with other players that we paid up for. Then we got Golden State versus Utah. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think this could be a very good scoring game for everyone. Curry, we know, just scored 60 real points the other day. He's hovering right around 50 here. Against Philly, he only played 25 minutes. It was a blowout, only had 14.75 fantasy points there. So I'm good with him. Lauri Markkanen, obviously, Kuminga, Sexton, Collins, Podziemski. I'm okay with Draymond Green's the one that's up and down. The minutes are either there or they're not. You're either getting 30, 28, 18. You're getting 35 fantasy points. He's still priced up that I don't know if I want to pay that price because, he had 15 actual points the other night. 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Talked a lot of smack to KD for just kind of being on the team and not doing a ton. 35 fantasy points, so we got 5 times value, almost 6 times value. Again, though, you still need 6.5, usually 6.5 minimum. So his price, I don't know if I like this, but it could be a high-scoring game, and he could be in there. So again, we'll run the simulations, we'll run the projections, we'll see what he's up to. Klay Thompson's the one that you want to feel good about, but again, the minutes aren't there. They're pulling him at the end of games. He's not happy about it. He's not the splash bro. He's not the same, pretty much not the same player since he did get hurt a couple seasons back. So I'm off of him. Wiggins is one that I don't mind. His price, his points, he's capable of 40 fantasy points. He's also capable of 11 and 18. So at 5,100, I might pay down at him. Walker Kessler's probably the lowest I would go. Especially at only 5,000. I think he's in a fantastic matchup. Hopefully he gets right around 25, 26 minutes. I would be completely okay with that, especially if this game stays close. Keontae George, you never know. The minutes are there. It's not even 1 point per minute, so scares me a little bit. But he's at 4,200. Keontae George would be a cheap option. One of those plays on the slate where I said there's going to be some players that get 5 times value and then some that get 10. You don't need 10 times value out of him. If we get it out of him, that's that's just a bigger plus. That's what I would look at. Chris Dunn, the minutes are right around 24, 25 minutes. 4,000, another one you could pay down for. So you might be able to find those late night hammer plays here at 4,000. That might help us build a lineup. So that being said, let's take a look at all the games. Let's take a look at what we have. So we do these on DraftKings. We can also do it on Fanduel, but again, I play specifically DraftKings for the most part. So this is one way to go about it. This is not the only way to build a lineup. I'm just showing you one of the many tools we have. If you want to see all the other tools, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So that being said, the Spurs give up the most. Washington gives up the second most. So we know that San Antonio Spurs are playing. They're playing Toronto. So point guard, Toronto point guard that you would look at would be Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly. You see the points in the differential here. Scotty Barnes, depending if he's going to play the small forward or there, he's coming off 60 fantasy points. They kept him at the same price. He's in a good spot here for Toronto. I would look at him. But again, like I said, Washington gives up the second most. If you look at that, they give up 54.7. So if you can save some money with Washington, or who was playing Washington for Dallas, Luka. So if you don't want to pay up for Luka, I completely understand. He's questionable, should play, could get pulled. He's 12,000, which is 3,500 more than Barnes. I specifically love Luka here, but if you want to save a little bit of money and pay down at other positions or pay up at other positions, go with Scotty Barnes instead of Luka. You can't go. I don't think you can really go wrong either way, though. So that's my thought in this one. Again, Luka's if you make multiple lineups, get Scotty in some, get Luka in the other. You might even be able to find enough value later on today that you could maybe get Barnes and Luka. But again, like if you were to do both, that brings it down to 4,900 per one. You could find those two like 4,100 players for Utah, Golden State, maybe. But that's just kind of where we're at now. So that's one way to build. So we'll look at shooting guard here. We take a look. The Atlanta Hawks give up 47 fantasy points per game. So we look at that. We take a look. Chicago. Shooting guard for Chicago, White, Dosunmu. Yeah, I mean, the value at 5,400. 20. I mean, he's up and down. The minutes are there. The fantasy points aren't there for him. So if you want to pay down, I think there's other players you could pay down for. Kobe White. I'm looking at Kobe White at 7,500. Drop down a little bit. I don't mind him. Seeing if he's played Atlanta this year, just because this game should be close, should be in store for maybe a good game on day after Christmas, 32.25. That's pretty much what we look for here. So I'm going to put Kobe White in there, and I'm going to feel confident about that. So then we move to the small forward position. Washington, again, they rank dead last. They give up the most amount of fantasy points, and they give up the most to the small forward and the center position. So who are we focusing against Washington here for small forward? Let's go shooting guard, Kobe White. Small forward, we're looking at Dallas here. Tim Hardaway Jr. You've got Josh Green. Their minutes are there. He's just not producing at 5,100. So Tim Hardaway Jr. at 29 average. This one's also, he's 5,500, so he's cheaper. If he's in a blowout, he might stick around a little bit longer. He's in a good matchups, coming off some stinker games here. Really hasn't had a good game since the 29th, so a couple of weeks, and that was against Orlando, went 37 minutes with 51.5 fantasy points at 5,900. So this is one where I don't know. Multiple lineups I'm okay with. I would be okay with multiple lineups. Hasn't really produced a ton there. So let's look at Utah. So we're going to be looking at Golden State players. Utah gives up 50.5 fantasy points there. So small forward for Golden State, Klay Thompson, that's another problem. Klay Thompson, he's not really getting into games there. Maybe this is a tournament play where he's averaging over 5 times value. Late in the games, he's not. So if it is a blowout, he might play a little more. But again, that's the problem. So you look at this. Game log wise, 24 minutes. He's going up to 30 minutes. He's still not eclipsing that 30 fantasy point mark since the 27th. So a couple of weeks out of him at 6,100. They've dropped him down. Seeing if he's played Utah this year. Does not appear that he has. So, hasn't played Utah this year. It could be a close game. I think everyone will be off of him. 5,200 Klay. We know if he gets hot, he can put up 10 threes. He can drop 10 threes. Could drop 10 threes in a row. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with. So we're building a tournament lineup. I'm going to throw Klay Thompson in there. Now, putting him in there, you can still average right around 5,700. Again, this is not the only way to build. This is not the only tool. This is not a final lineup. This is just a off-the-cuff kind of lineup showing you one of our tools at Fantasy Team Advisors. So, Atlanta Hawks give up 53.1 fantasy points per game to the power forward. So go in here, find it's Chicago again, a power forward, DeMar DeRozan, Torrey Craig. Craig is going to be a cheaper option at 3,100. The minutes are there. These, 21.5 is great, but it's very up and down here. See if he's played Atlanta this year. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Yeah, I was going to say, I probably am off of him unless somehow he gets pushed into the starting role if other players are out, but as of now, probably not. DeMar DeRozan, we're looking at him. You're looking, the minutes are there, 40-plus minutes. We know the minutes are there, and hopefully that means good things will come. DeMar DeRozan at 7,600, but then we drop down to 5,300. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. That's where you got to find those values. So center position, the Wizards give up the most, 64.4. We've already talked about this. Vucevic is where I want to be. That brings us to 4,400, the other plays. That's a problem. So this is where you can go up and down and, kind of finagle a little bit, figure out what you want to go. So if you don't want to go DeRozan, I get that, but it could be a Chicago-type stack here. So let's take a look at some of the players for the guard at around 4,400. So guards at 4,400, and maybe we've already covered some of them. Jacob Gilyard, like I said, it just depends if he's going to play and the minutes are there. I don't know how you say his name. Kulabali. He's playing 30 minutes. He's coming off 40. In this matchup here, could be down big, could play. I don't mind him at 4,400. Then we get into the forwards at 4,400-ish, give or take. Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder will be the guy if other players are out. Again, though, he's playing 30 minutes his last game against Charlotte, who's a very bad team, 12.5 fantasy points. Nothing really. But before that, he played 37 minutes against Mini, 42.5, 10 times value. So he's 4,500. If this game could be close and other players are out, Jay Crowder could be in store there. Maxi Kleber being questionable with a toe. 25 minutes there, 27 minutes there, 38 fantasy points at 4,300. If Kleber, he's probable. So I love me some Kleber, especially if they get up huge. If they get up big, this is the conundrum. If they get up big on paper, he should be playing extra minutes. If he's not 100%, his toe hurts a little bit, that's where we could get a little bit what's going to happen. So I'm going to throw Maxi Kleber in there at 4,500. That allows us 4,400 for remaining utility. I kind of think I want to look at some of the players that we talked about for Utah. So a Chris Dunn or a Keontae George. I don't mind. So looking at Keontae George, again, the minutes are right around, averaging 27, 28, 29 minutes. He's had good matchups before. Playing Golden State. Did he play Golden State earlier and we didn't look it up? I don't remember now because I talk too much. Look at Golden State. Has not. The minutes, though, I don't mind. 30, 27, 25, 21, 22. If the game stays close, he could be here. He's up to 4,200 from 3,900. The other one was Chris Dunn that we could look at. So Chris Dunn's another one. Game logs right around 25 minutes, a point per game. I might go with Chris Dunn because he's a point per game. So this is an example of a lineup. Not saying this is a lineup that I'm going to go with. Then we could come down here and we could go back to guard at 4,700 instead of 4,500. We could see who could be here. So Malik Beasley, Concher, Trey Mann. Trey Mann, we used him Saturday. 31 fantasy points at 10 times value. He is now bumped up. Trey Mann could be in store. Played 27 minutes there. Got traded to them. Trying to see. Yeah, that was basically a career game for him this year, or the best game he's had. So he's Concher here, though. He's got a good matchup. The minutes are 30-plus minutes lately. The value kind of is there. So it just depends if he's going to play, who's going to be in or out. So you could look at him. Derrick Rose, I saw his name there, but yeah, the minutes aren't there for Rose. It's probably time to hang him up. So just kind of looking at this, I could see you going both ways. I like his matchup here at 4,600. That's just one way, one tool. That's one tool to use out of all the tools we have. So not bad. This is probably not a complete lineup that we'll submit, but maybe we'll throw it in a tournament because you never know what happens with tournaments. Today we have a full slate, 9 games. Tournaments, lineups, we're going to be looking, when we have this many games and the over-unders are high, start focusing on high over-unders. But high over-unders with very close spreads are where you want to start focusing building lineups. On top of that, you go from that to projections, which we have. Then you can filter out some of those. You can look at the DVP. You can look at the points allowed by position. You could look at our top plays. You could look at everything we have to offer at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. And if you guys sign up, you get sports betting along with DFS. You get a monthly pass currently. That month will include if you did it today, it would be 1 month, 4 weeks of NBA, 4 weeks of PGA, and 4 weeks of NASCAR, because I believe Daytona 500 is back on Sunday. MLB pitchers and catchers report this Friday. MLB position players report next Friday. And then the Friday after that, or Saturday after that, we've got baseball. Again, I've mentioned it before. Do not play spring training DFS for MLB. I know that's how they get you. I know you want to. You're itching for it because we haven't been able to see it since November. But nothing good comes out of spring training. You might get lucky one time, but it's very hard to win money in spring training. Do not bet it and do not play DFS. Let's wait until the start of the season. We're very excited. I believe the South Korea series starts like March 23rd. So we're just a little over a month away from that. So very excited, but that is it for NBA. Let me know how you did this weekend. Let me know how you did for the Super Bowl. Good luck today. And as always, let's bring home some bacon.